Hey everyone, this is Mike, and I'm with Bobby. This is the DGX podcast, the DroughtGamingX.com podcast. We're here tonight late on our podcast rollout because we couldn't do it on Friday. We had shit going on. But this is episode 14. I got the number right today. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, what's going on? We're alone this week.
Yeah, it's the two-man cast. Apparently, guys have jobs and work and I don't know, fucking baby bullshit. Who knows? Yeah. I don't know why
Yeah,
I don't know why guys let their stupid shit like their jobs get in the way of video games.
I don't either.
Frankly, it pisses
I,
me the fuck off. So, all right, so we have two things to do today, two major things.
all right.
One, we have to go over our scoreboard for E3. There's a couple
Do
of
you,
items to deliberate.
do you want to go over those items with the other guys here?
It's better if they're not here because then they have to listen to the podcast this week and just have to deal with whatever we came up with.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, and then they're just like, wait a minute, I don't think it should go that way. We should
You know
show it
what?
to the.
I think we should, speak for them. Yeah,
All
that'll
right,
be
yeah,
better.
yeah. We could take turns being Jerf or being Earth.
Yeah.
I think this is a
I
great
think
idea.
that is exactly what they want us to do.
I think
That's
that's
they
I,
don't they don't really want to say anything. They'd be here if they did. So
right. And I feel like
yeah.
if we ask them, hey, how would you like me to handle this? They'd be like, dude, you should totally just beat us. So let me pull up the scoreboard. The other thing I want to talk about tonight is VR. I want to go heavy into VR. I have a lot to say about VR because as per last week's suspicions, I said I think I can get an HTC Vive, and well, fuck me, I got an HTC Vive. So yeah, we can talk about that too. Do you have any crazy shit you'd like to go over?
Uh, and this is gonna be hard, but I want to convince you to be. I want to talk about Zelda, and I want to try to convince you to not hate it.
I don't hate it. I just all right. We'll go over it. Yes,
Yes.
we will talk about that.
All right.
So first off, we all had a lot of predictions last week. The four of us. Of everyone's predictions, only one, two, three, four, five items were automatically right. One for me, one for you, one for Jerf, two for Earth. Which one of Earth's I want to throw in a contestant because we'll get to that.
Okay.
So I'll go first and talk about the ones we definitely got right. So the one I got right is I said there will be a release date in 2016 for The Last Guardian, and that was accurate. Right?
Yep.
The one you got right, you said Kojima's new game will be teased, and that was absolutely right. Jeff said Skyrim for the new consoles, and that was absolutely right. Earth. Now here's the one he said that I feel like we need to think about this. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. The here's the one I think we need to talk about this. Earth said Halo gets a new game. That was his guess.
Hmm.
I don't think it was a fair guess because I'm thinking there's always a new Halo game, and I believe that we knew that this Halo Wars game. I don't think that was the announcement for that game, but I'm not 100% sure.
Uh, Let them have it. I
Fine,
think. It's an easy guess. Yes, it's cheap, but he was right. It
fine.
happened.
And
So
the other one that Earth got was he said there'll be a new Batman game. He even said Batman colon Arkham something,
and
and
it
that,
is called Arkham
I know.
Detective or something
Yeah,
like that.
he nailed that one, so he gets a point for that one.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the ones in question. So first of all, I have none in question. I only have 1 point, so I lose no matter what. So I will be the mediator here to see
What do we
which
win? What do we win anyway?
you have 365 days of telling the rest of the DGX crew that you're the smartest one there.
I don't know if that means anything,
I mean, for me
or
it
will
would.
help at all.
For me it would. I feel like I would hold that over everyone's head forever. Even after next year passes, I'd be like, hey, dude, remember back in 2016 when I got more E3 shit right than you guys? Yeah, that's right. I'm smarter. All right.
Smarter or luckier.
Yeah, as if there's any skill to any of this whatsoever. So the first one, let's start with yours, since you're second on the list. You said the first real AAA VR games to be announced. Now, like on one side, I think Earth said, "Hey, they're putting Resident Evil on VR." That's Bobby gets that point. I think you said the same thing. But then
No,
the way
actually,
I hear that, it seems like you're saying an actual VR announcement, like a AAA game for VR will be announced, and I don't
right.
think that happened.
Well, a bunch of games got announced for VR, but I don't think any of them. The only one close enough to AAA was really Fallout 4, and that's already a
But
game.
see, that's the thing. That's just another game getting moved to VR, not a AAA VR game.
Right. So, yeah, I guess I don't get it. Because I mean, I might be one of the only people in the world, but I actually am interested in Resident Evil.
No,
Because playing,
a lot of people seem to be interested. I heard we could talk about this when we talk about VR. I could talk about it now.
we can wait till we get to VR. I'll note it in my
Yeah,
notebook.
I no, because I heard about that game. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it. The other one you said, the one that's needs to be talked about with you was you said Division DLC was announced or revealed, which that's true, but it was already announced. They did reveal it, so I guess I wasn't sure if that's a point or not.
I guess I could get half a point for that.
We're either giving you a fucking point or none, Bobby. I'll give you
All
the
right
point.
then.
I'm okay giving you a point.
All right, then I get the point. 'Cause it
Anything that
happened.
makes it anything that makes it so Earth doesn't win. In fact, I'm starting to think that we should count Resident Evil. All right, so
Actually, that one right there is probably not true. Right there.
which one?
Jerf's first contested one here.
Well, I think that was wrong from the get go. I think there's this, and maybe it's because of how strongly I speak, but I never said I disliked VR. I just said I don't think it's the future of video games. That's what I said. I've always liked it. When I got my gear, I couldn't wait to get that thing. Now, granted, it was a little underwhelming when I got it, but uh, you know, I like VR a whole lot. And, I own this thing, but we're going to talk about that next. Yeah, but I think Jeff does not get a point for that. I agree. And here's the really tricky one. Jeff says the new Crash Bandicoot game.
Oh,
So there's a new game with Crash Bandicoot in it, the Skylanders, and
yeah.
they're remastering the old Crash Bandicoot games.
No, see, remastering is not a new game. So
Now, hold on.
that's already out.
Are you in
That's
front of your
already out.
computer?
I am.
Why don't we
But I know
Google? Are
about
they
the Skylanders
remastering
game.
or are we rebooting?
So Crash, I thought they were just putting them in Skylanders.
No, but they're also putting out the old games. But I'm not sure if they said they're remastering or rebooting. Because if they're
So Crash
rebooting,
Bandicoot returns PlayStation 4 as a release date revealed for Activision remasters.
okay.
So
So that's not a new game. If it was a
no, it's not.
reboot, kind of like Ratchet and Clank, I would say that is a new game.
Yes. And that Skylanders game does not count.
Now does it count? Because it's a new game with Crash Bandicoot. It's not
No,
his
but
game.
no, it's a game. Skylanders has been around. They're just adding Crash Bandicoot to it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So
Sorry, Jeff.
sorry, Jeff. We're gonna kick you to the curb on that one. So that leaves us with one more questionable one. And that was one of Earth's specific ones where he said Mass Effect Andromeda gets a second 30-second trailer with no substance. And the
So
argument
that
here
trailer
was
was longer than 30 seconds, I think, wasn't
that's
it?
the thing. It was like 2 minutes, and it had what I thought was some substance. So I was like,
I thought it had
technically,
some substance.
I
They
s-
were showing some of the making of the game,
right,
some of the game, what it looked like if it was the game. It looks amazing,
right.
but
So
it
he was like,
does.
no, but they put out a trailer, and I'm thinking, no, dude, you pretty much thought the trailer was gonna suck and be short and empty, and
Yeah,
that's not what they
he
gave
was
you.
a little like very much like his sixth entry. He was very specific about what happened, which
Mhm.
made it pretty much no point.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. And he was fucking, he watched that trailer 1,000 times and posted on the website droughtgamingx.com his thoughts on it.
DGX.
So now we have a major fucking problem, Bobby. You and Earth are tied with 2 points each for winning E3.
So I guess that we're equals now. I guess that's what that means. So actually, you know what? Earth had one more prediction than everybody else on the list.
Oh, that's true. But we never put a limit on it.
No, we didn't. However, two of those lines do count for one prediction. Forgot about that.
Oh, yes, you're right. It was a continuation. So no, we all have the same amount of predictions. You're right.
Yeah.
So here's the real question. How do we break a tie?
I don't know if we can decide this by ourselves. I think we have to.
All right, so next podcast
I think.
we'll
I
get,
guess the guys who. I guess the guys have to decide the tie are you and Jerf.
I like this idea.
Because it can't be me and
Yeah,
Earth.
you're gonna
because
try to pick something you'll
conflict
win.
of interest.
Yeah, he'll try to pick something he'll win. Like he's gonna want to play a PC game that only he plays, like touching little boys, the video game, and you're gonna want to play something.
You can only get it in Singapore.
Hence why Earth lives in Singapore.
Purchased with Bitcoin.
God,
This is awful.
this
I
is
don't
horrible.
think we should go any
No,
further
we
in
should
this
just let this
direction.
go because I can go further. We just shouldn't. Okay. I guess let's get right back into the meat. What do we want to handle first, VR or Zelda?
Um, let's go with VR first.
Yeah, let's go with VR.
Let's start with the happy topic first.
You know, speaking of happy topic, I feel like with Zelda, it's the same thing as with VR with me. Like, I don't hate it, but we'll get to that. So I got my wife, my beautiful, lovely wife, got me an HTC Vive for Father's Day, which is today. It got here on Friday, so I spent the whole weekend VRing it up, if that's a thing. It should be. I play a lot of fucking VR, Bobby. I spent probably the better part of, I don't know, 14 hours in VR over Friday and Saturday night.
So I have a question
Go.
because I played a lot of my Gear VR this weekend, just trying to vicariously feel what it's like to have a Vive, and
It's not even fucking close.
it's not it.
Not
But
even
what
not
I wanna
even
know
remotely.
Is the headset comfortable? Because the Gear VR rather,
I
feel
didn't
like
I didn't like wearing the Gear VR for more than like 40 minutes.
yeah, it would start to give me a headache.
I
and I'd
played
have to take
no
it
no
off.
I didn't have that issue. I played this thing for hours. The main all right. So I do have issues with it. I love the thing. I think it's a great piece of hardware. But what do we want to talk about first? The shit I hate or the shit I like?
Go in any order you want.
So here's a couple of things I really 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 dislike. And some of these things, like, there's nothing they can do about it. So they're not really complaints. They're just things that I personally feel like, all right, this is fucking stupid. So first and foremost, the headset itself has that tether of cables coming out of the top of the headset, and they're kind of looped through the top the top strap, and they kind of hang down the back of your head. Okay,
Okay.
it's three cables plus a 3.5 millimeter audio cable. They can't come off of the headset side. So your headset will always have 15 feet of cable dangling behind it no matter what. And it's annoying. I'm not in a position where I can leave this thing I have a 1.5-year-old child. I can't just leave this thing hanging around. It's an $800 piece of equipment. I have to put it away. So I'm disconnecting this cable, and I'm rolling up this thing every time I'm putting it away. I don't know why they couldn't put, and I get it, like, all right, your head's moving, this thing might disconnect. There's got to be a snapping connector or something they could have put to disconnect the harness from the headset side,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that it's just got these, I get that the cable's there. Not only that,
It
but it
actually
could have.
worries me that it's actually like fixed to it, because if the cable breaks or something happens
Well,
to
that's
it,
the thing. Like, you would think that, like, having a harness up there, a snapping harness would be better, because then, like, you can sell people a 20-foot cable, a 30-foot cable, a 50-foot cable. You could sell other cables so that, what if people want to put their VR not close to where the PC is or something? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't know. But in their defense also, like the cables are standard cables. It's an HDMI, a USB, and a power. All of those you can get extenders for and not lose any kind of quality. I think I'm not sure of the science behind it, but I think you can extend all of those relatively long without issue.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that I dislike. I also dislike uh, that the they don't tell you anywhere that mirrors fuck up your shit. so I the room where I was doing this has a huge mirror on the wall, uh, maybe a 5 foot by 2 foot mirror that my wife has on the wall, and there's
You mean the
also,
one you stuck a pillow in or something?
well,
It
yeah,
looked like.
I just grabbed the curtain that's next to it and just draped it over it, which that worked out okay. Now the one that's not even the real kicker. The real kicker was about eye level with me. There's a small mirror that's maybe size of a small pizza, and it's in this collage of pictures and shit that. Oh, my daughter's crying. It's in this collage of pictures and shit that my wife has on the wall in here. Can you hear her crying?
I can.
She's been pissed off today like you don't even know. Come on, go back to
You
sleep,
need.
little girl. I don't know if I have to go there yet.
All right.
I'm wondering if I should just pause the podcast just in case, though. Okay, I'm gonna pause it. All right, I had to actually feed my kid. She just wanted a bottle. Poor little thing, she's teething, so she's having a rough time. What I was saying was, there's a mirror, about a 12-inch small pizza sized mirror in this collage of pictures my wife has on the wall in that room. It's about eye level to me. And what happened was, I couldn't figure out why every time I looked towards this one corner, everything would go crazy in there. Like the world would start shaking weird ways and just be fucking horrible. And I started to think something was wrong with my base station or my headset. I was getting really concerned on the first night.
So so was your vision impaired, or was it just the controllers that were having
No, no.
problems?
Like what I saw was like I would look this one direction and then like the world would warp left and right and it would feel really fucked up. And
Whoa.
yeah, it was just really weird and I couldn't figure out why this was happening. And then I started Googling, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, do you have any mirrors, big mirrors in the room?" And I was like, "All right, I have one big mirror," and I covered it, and I still kept having the same problem, and I was getting really upset. And then I noticed that like I took the headset off and I started tracking the space where I play, and I'm like turning around in that area, and I looked left, and I noticed when I was in this spot looking left specifically, I'm looking through that mirror straight at one of the base station's reflection on the other side. This small 12-inch mirror was catching my head tracking across the room through a 12-inch mirror for the opposite side of the room's base station, and it was making everything fuck up. So then I just taped two pieces of paper over that mirror, and it worked fucking beautifully. So yeah, that's one of the things that I dislike about it. That being said, when that thing is tracking beautifully, Bobby, it's really a fucking amazing thing. It's some amazing technology. Like when you hold those wands, the controls, whatever they're called,
Hmm.
like the it picks up the most minute movements, dude. Like you know how it has those little divots all around the
Yeah.
controller? I
Hmm.
can put one controller's corner into the divot, which the divots are what, a centimeter across, and I can see it moving that small when I do circles inside the divot. Like it tracks an unbelievable amount of like, I don't know how to phrase it, one to one tracking. Like it is truly is like as perfect as anything I've ever seen controlling. I played this thing at PAX. I played Job Simulator, and I remember it being cool. But it wasn't until I held the wands and I was able to look real close and just look at them in VR. It tracks so perfectly that you can hold the controller in the empty space, and you could throw it in the air and catch it because it's exactly where your brain thinks it should be in real life. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, dude. Uh, Obviously it looks real good. It's recording on that thing is a major challenge. I am really having to pull out all the stops. I'm trying new things with recording. I think the videos are getting better every time because I'm trying different shit. It's cool that it does record audio. Like you can put like a headset that has 3.5 millimeter audio directly into the headset and it works. Thank God, because if that didn't work, I'd be finding another audio and it was weird.
Mhm.
You said you had questions. Go.
So, has it changed your mind about the success of VR in any way? Having one,
I still
like if it'll be successful.
I think it'll be niche successful. I never thought it would die, but I think it'll always be its own little thing. It won't be. I don't think like I don't think people will go out and buy their PlayStation 6s or whatever the situation is then, and they would come with headsets, and that's how people play the net. Skyrim 7 or whatever. I don't think that's the case.
All right. So, is it worth the price?
That's one of those questions that's relative. For me, I think it was worth it. I am a tech nerd dude. I like cool new shit. Me and my wife both do pretty well. So it was worth it. Even if I only play it once a week or when something new comes out, I think it's worth it because I like cool shit. If money's tight and a guy had $800 to spend on that, or like, a new console or video card, I probably wouldn't recommend it. I would probably say, hey, it's cool and you're gonna like it, but the truth is there's no games for it. There's games like Elite Dangerous where they added support for it, and there's game, War Thunder, and there's a bunch of big games that you got Fallout coming out early next year, but there's no actual games, which is a bummer. It's a major bummer actually. There's no there's no thing that I would say, Bobby, go buy this thing and play this game right now. Like how you could say about Uncharted. You could tell someone who doesn't have a PS4, like, dude, until you've seen Uncharted running, you have no idea. You got to play this fucking game. Like, there's nothing like that on the Vive. There's very cool shit. Like, I really wish you guys lived in Austin so I could say, come try, Job Simulator, and come try the lab and all this stuff. Like, there's shit that I want you to try, but there's nothing that I think you must have. If that makes any sense.
So, you mentioned the lab,
Hmm.
and you said you were going to talk about it.
Yeah, so the lab video actually just went up right now as we're recording. The lab is a free thing Valve gives away on Steam for Vive people, and
Mhm.
I think, yeah, it has to be Vive only because it has too much body tracking to be an Oculus thing. And it's a collection of mini games that they put together to kind of show what I imagine is best uses of VR, and it does a really good job of showing you, here's some things you can do in VR, and here's how it can be done well. Unfortunately, like all the good things, like no one's kind of got that movement thing down pat. So the games like the lab that are done well are always like point to teleport, which is fine. Uh, and I imagine that maybe not point to teleport, but point to walk is going to be how they handle Fallout, is my guess. But I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, the lab's really cool, and if you watch the video, I go through I think three different mini games. What I thought were the things that impressed me the most in VR, and
So, for most of the games, were you seated or standing?
most of the games they put you in a little area where you can walk around and do something. For example, there's one where you're in this arcade game and you control a little ship shooting these little enemies that are shooting back at you. And then your hand, the controller, becomes the ship. So you're just using your hand in space, stepping around and dodging these little guys shooting at you in 3D space. And it's cool. It's neat. It's not going to change your life, but it's cool. And I
Okay.
think I think there'll be certain games in the future that VR will be the way to play it. Uh, one of
Games that
those
are
one of
made for
those
VR.
types of games I think is like driving games. I think I think driving games are going to be like in VR will be amazing because you're in this cockpit of the race car, or flying games and space games, those kind of games. And that's where I think is going to be the hardest thing to hit mainstream, because those games are all pretty mainstream, but they're not, you know You have to figure out a way to how to put sports on there.
Well,
You got to figure
there's
out
a
how to
few
put
there's a even with those games, there's this barrier of entry for people because there's a lot of people who can't play flying games. They just don't
right.
do the controls well
That's the
enough.
thing, there's a lot of stuff like that. You told me, hey, you should grab your flight stick, and I was like, and I think I told you in the chat, that's it's kind of another problem because an Xbox controller works well because I know where all the buttons are and how to play it. Like I don't have the buttons on the flight stick memorized, and you can't exactly look at anything while you're in there, so it brings up weird challenges. But it's very very cool shit. I still would say if you have the money, those Vives are shipping now, which are amazing, by the way, because Oculuses are still not shipping for people that pre-ordered them. Still don't have theirs, and Vives. I ordered mine on Monday and had it on Friday, and I didn't even get like the fast shipping or anything. I just got regular cheap ass $10 shipping.
Well, that's kind of awesome
Yeah, I was
to
really
know.
impressed. Not only that, but I ordered it like at 6 p.m. on Monday, so it's like after the cutoff time, so it technically was a Tuesday order.
So now that we're talking about VR, we should talk about Resident Evil 7.
So yeah, that's big. So there's been this E3. There was big news for VR. Well, what sounded
There's a
like
lot. There was
so
a lot of VR exposure, I should say.
there was a lot of there was a lot of VR news and people with vested interest like Sony make trying to make big splashes in VR, and
Right.
I don't. I think anyone like me or you that are educated about this stuff, it didn't really work. But I think that maybe they're trying to. We're not the people they're going for. They're going for the guy who played Arkham Knight and wants the next big thing. So let's start with that Arkham thing. Uh, Obviously no one's played the whole game, but they were demoing it for journalists at E3, and I was listening to Giant Bomb and Kotaku's exposure with it, and it seems like. Do you remember the detective mode where you can fast forward time and slow down time just to kind of
Yeah.
solve crimes in the Batman games? It
Yeah.
seems like it's a couple of those with story tacking them together or something. So you're not actually doing anything except fast
Yeah.
forward in time, going to the spot, trying to see where the fingerprint is, find the fragment of the bullet. Like you're not actually doing. You're not being the Batman. They even said "be the Batman" as their tagline. And sure, Batman does those things, but you're not gonna be throwing batarangs or swinging through the city or gliding
Right.
or flying a
It's
fucking
it
Batmobile.
sounds like it sounds like it's going to be a cash grab. Like they're trying
It
to,
sounds to me like they're absolute, and they even say, Rocksteady's making it. Like, oh,
and that's something that surprised me. It's
me
like
too.
they're making that. That's what they're making. I when I saw that Rocksteady was making it before they showed the game, I was a little hopeful, but at the same time, when they showed it, because I watched the Sony press conference, and I was like, they didn't show any of the game. They didn't show any of it. They just announced it. And when they do that, then you know
That
it's
means
not
there's
good.
yeah, that means there's something there's something, and that's why I was not surprised at all when I heard that, like, oh, this is not an action game. This is a slow-paced detective game, and I didn't expect an action game because I told Jeff the other day, like, doing action in VR is going to be really fucking hard, man. I don't know.
The only way I could see action in VR, at least right now, uh, is like do it in third person mode, like you're looking at a diorama
Yeah,
or something like
that's
that.
the only way to do it.
That's the only way I can see it.
Or
Like,
or like I told Jeff last night, I don't know if you saw it. I said what would be cool is a like Infinity Blade style game where you go and you fight a boss, you choose a direction or story or something or other, and then it follows through scripted shit, and then you fight another boss. Like that kind of thing would work. But again, like $60 AAA game, no. But something very cool in VR, sure. Make those lightsabers work for me, motherfucker.
so Resident Evil
Yeah, so Resident Evil
looks.
is a whole other thing. So I passed an Engadget article to you guys last night that said E3 was secretly very bad for VR. And while the headline was very like click me ish, the stuff that they were discussing in there made a lot of sense to me. And they were talking about, they brought up Resident Evil 5, and they were like, the shitty part about Resident Evil 5 being on PSVR, and granted this isn't
You
final
mean
stuff.
7?
I mean 7, sorry. Yeah. Being on PSVR is it ran like ass. The guy said that one of their editors even got nauseated because it was running below 60 frames a second. In VR, that's like a big technical no-no.
Yeah.
And that's when they realized that Sony's not putting hard caps on this stuff. They're not making developers hit any limits. So like they could people are like if they release, again, wasn't final, but if they release Resident Evil 7 in the way that they showed it, it like people are going to fucking hate VR.
Is it exclusive to PSVR? I can't
They
imagine
they
it being
didn't
forever
say that.
exclusive.
They did not say that. I have to imagine since it's coming out on PC that it'll be a Vive. Like, why do that work? I
So
imagine it'll be a
this,
Vive and Oculus too.
yeah, the little bit that I saw of it, at the presentation, I'm not married to getting a PSVR to play that game, but it looks like it would be good. Um, Only based on my experience playing Dead Secret and Dead Halls on Gear VR. Those two games are actually pretty good. Dead Secret's not great. Dead Halls is actually pretty good, but it's like a demo. It's not even a full game. Like,
Right.
I don't even know if they're releasing the full game, but it's actually one of the most immersive ones,
Right.
even though the graphics aren't great. And looking at Resident Evil, I'm thinking, well, this is kind of the same thing, but it's highly produced. So it has a potential of being a good mystery game, because I don't look at it as a survival horror game. I guess it's going to have some survival horror aspects, but it's really kind of a horror mystery game, because that's what Resident Evil kind of is.
Looks like
Find items, gun doors.
looks like they're going after the PT crowd. Looks like they're changing it up, and I think they need to. I think that game needed a reboot a long fucking time ago. Like that game
Yeah,
hasn't been good in a long time, to me. But
yeah. I just think, even if it wasn't called Resident Evil, I would have been interested in it. Uh, but I just think it that kind of not franchise, but genre fits good in VR, because it gives you kind of this immersion in this world, and then it helps. I think it works good. So they have it. I think it has potential to be good, but it's Capcom, so it could end up being really shitty.
well,
So
that brings me to another thing. Going along with what the Engadget folks are saying, Dan Reichert of Giant Bomb fame, in their last podcast, he says that he played it in VR, and he said that as he played it in PSVR, he couldn't help but sit there and feel like this would probably be just better on a TV. And then he went on to say, like, not even about that game, but VR in general. He said, last year when he tried the VR stuff for the first time, he was floored and amazed. But now that initial like wow factor's done, you know, games like that, like, do you want to play it in a headset? He said he caught himself thinking like, I'll just play this on a fucking TV. Like, the cool once the coolness wears off, like, oh shit, I can look around. Is it bringing that much to the table? And that's
yeah,
what he was kind of
yeah.
asking.
But that's also a relative opinion.
Right.
Like, somebody else might not feel that way
Right.
in a year. But then again, like you said, it could die off. That
I don't think it'll die off. I just don't think it'll be the thing. Is all. I don't think it'll die. I think it'll always, I think there will always be Steam VR games coming out. Just like there's Track I. Are you familiar with Track IR?
no.
Okay, and a lot of people aren't. They didn't market this thing very well, but there's some very cool technology called Track IR. And in the racing and flight sim community, it's huge. It's this little camera doohickey that hooks up on your monitor, and games that support it, like while you're driving or flying, when you turn left and right, the on-screen guy will look left and right, almost like VR, except you're looking at a screen. And like I
Okay.
said, like, huge in the driving sim and flight sim communities. Like, if you release a flight sim and it doesn't support Track IR, those people are like, oh, this is bullshit. It doesn't even support Track IR. It's like what you do. And while Track IR is a bad example because it's not as big as I think VR will be, but I feel like VR will be one of those things. Like, oh shit, Forza 6 is out. Oh fuck, man, I gotta get that shit for my Vive because not Forza 6, Forza 7. I gotta get that shit for my Vive because that's the way to play a driving game is in a fucking VR headset. Or Hawken 2, the Super Mech game. Yeah, I'm gonna do that shit in my VR headset. But then when you're like, oh, Call of Duty's coming out, or Battlefield, or Battlefront, or I'm not gonna play that in a headset. There's no way to move without feeling like you're gonna fucking puke. And I surprisingly, I got sick playing my Gear VR, that kart game. It made me nauseous. I had to take it off and be like, fuck this. And all the VR I did this weekend, I never felt bad once playing any of the games. So, you know, I don't know if that means I'm tolerant to this stuff or if high end stuff works better. I don't know which one.
I find that on the Gear VR, not a lot of things like
I'm
there's
guessing
only
their
some
frame rates are
games.
pretty bad.
Yeah, like Dead Hall stays consistent. Minecraft does not stay consistent.
Yeah, you told
Um,
me that. That's
and the other game that really doesn't stay consistent, in fact, doesn't the phone doesn't even like to stay on for. Alt Space VR is just unusable, even on my S7.
really
I could play it for like 10 minutes before the phone starts to get hot.
that's weird because
Uh,
I played that for quite a while when that guy kept asking me if my vagina was
I
moist.
played it, yeah, and you know, he must have cursed Gear VR phones because it just, or rather, Samsung phones. It just like it overheats every time I play it.
That sucks,
Like,
man.
and
I wanted to try that with you because I wanted to see if in
we can,
Vive
but
it
it
let me
just
have full arm control in Vive. I
yeah,
wanted to see if it would.
we can. That's not something that we can't not do. It's just it makes the phone die. Like it's like, and there's no settings like to turn down like
Yeah, like turn
whatever
down
is making it hot.
visual occlusion or some crazy shit.
Yeah. So I think we should get into our next topic.
Oh, hold on. Before we go there, I do want to say, VR is fucking awesome. And, this is for Jeff or whoever went on thinking I hate VR, which I know I haven't had great things to say, but just because I'm, like you said, I just like to state my opinion very strongly. VR is fucking cool. I got this Vive. I fucking like it. I'm happy I spent $800 on it. I know it was a Father's Day gift from my wife, but guess whose bank account it comes from? Uh, isn't that weird when you're married? Like, I'm gonna buy you this thing. Like, I'm pretty sure that I am buying me that thing, but okay. I appreciate the thought.
Yeah, it's
No,
more like permission to get it.
you know what? Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. And to be fair, my wife makes just as much money as I do. I'm not saying I'm like the bread earner here or any shit. So I guess technically we went halvesies on it. But I like this thing. It's fucking cool, and I fully expect it to just get cooler as time goes on. I still hold that it won't be the future of things, but I think it'll always be a great thing. And I think the other day you said you looked at my setup video and you said, hey, you could do that in your living room. That made me excited. I'm like, fuck, man, now Bobby can get one. That's awesome. That would be fucking kick ass. Uh,
Yep.
you know,
And like you though, I would have to put it away every time was done with it. Like I couldn't just
so
keep
I left
using
it. I left it connected all weekend, and my story was like, I thought, I'll be using it all weekend. I'll just take it down on Monday. So tonight, when we're done here, I'm probably gonna try one more thing. I want to finish a couple of the jobs in Job Simulator. I like that game a lot, man. And then I have to put everything away. I have to put away my tripods and all that stuff. So, yeah, it needs to
Oh,
go
so you
away.
got to put those things away too?
Yeah, I can't leave the tripods up. No way. My wife is I mean, she's a nurse by trade, but she might as well be an interior decorator.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I don't have to deal with that too much. My woman believes in shab chic technology.
no. My woman, in fact, today she was like, "I thought you said you were gonna put this stuff up when you're not using it." I was like, "Yeah, but it's the weekend and it's Father's Day," and she's like, "Fine." She's like, "No, but you're not gonna leave those up all week, like."
Fine.
Because she kind of doesn't, she doesn't believe me. Because I was like, no, I'm gonna put them away when I'm not using it. She's like, you're not putting that shit away. I'm like, I'm not gonna leave fucking tripods up. I mean, I could always just leave it there and then be like, you win. You were right. What I can also do is, I didn't think about this till after I got it here, is I can mount them on the wall and then just put the power adapters in when I need it.
See, I thought you were opposed to mounting them on the wall,
No,
though.
I'm not opposed to mounting them on the wall. I'm opposed to cables dangling from something on the wall.
Well, I always assumed if you did that, you were gonna pass the cables through the back of the wall.
The profile of them, and maybe it's hard to tell. The profile of them, they're too small. There's no
So
way,
they're not going to cover a hole.
right? There's no way to hide a hole behind it effectively. Like they're literally 3 by 3 inches. They're tiny. They're much
Wow, I thought they
smaller.
were bigger.
Yeah,
Oh,
when I
that.
saw the pictures, I thought they were like a good 6 inch box, and it's not like a speaker. They're very very small. So
Okay, that's actually kind of a good thing, I guess.
no, it's a great thing because I could, like I said, I could mount these on the wall pretty high so that it doesn't annoy her. I mean, I can ask her, hey, is this area good or whatever, and they just look like little boxes on the wall. And then when I'm using it, I'll just climb up there and plug the power cable in, and then I'm putting away power cables instead of putting away entire tripods.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're in deliberation, the wife and I. So I don't know what I'm gonna do there, but tonight I'll probably put it all away.
Well, you're winning so far because you got the headset. So.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And before we switch over, I also want to say Job Simulator is a cool game, man. Like, it's funny. They make you do crazy shit in there. You can do just about anything in there. Like you can, like whatever you see and you can fuck with, you can fuck with. It's pretty awesome. And if you came over today and you were like, show me some VR, I'll show you the lab and I'll show you fucking Job Simulator. Those are the two things that show you what VR is made of right now, I think. And then if we had time, I'd say try Elite Dangerous just so you could. That cockpit, man. When you sit in that cockpit and it hits you, like, oh fuck, man, I'm in a space cockpit. It's pretty
So when you
badass.
were controlling it, were you using keyboard and mouse?
No, I was using an Xbox controller.
Okay, but it seemed like you were having trouble. Or
Well,
was
I
that the
didn't.
other one?
No. I just didn't know the mapping.
Oh,
I
okay.
couldn't figure out the mapping, and I didn't want to be on video like going into the mapping, figuring out what puts your hard points away and what's the jump button and all that stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go online tomorrow or so, find what's universally the best Xbox layout, and I'm gonna set that up and I'm gonna try to do it. It's tricky because you can't reference
Isn't
anything in
there
VR.
isn't there Elite Dangerous for Xbox One?
Yes, I like that
Couldn't you,
version of the game a whole lot, and I wish.
couldn't you copy that mapping from there?
No, and that's that. And I'm gonna look this up tomorrow because I feel like they failed big time. The control scheme they put in the Xbox One is fucking amazing, but it's all modifiers, meaning you hold this button and it makes LR, and L1 and R1 and R1.
Yeah, I
It
understand.
makes the
So like
shoulder
if you
buttons.
hold if so if you hold them down, the face buttons do certain things.
No, you hold the face buttons down and it makes the shoulder buttons do different things,
Oh,
which worked amazing in the Xbox One, but there's no way to do that by their button layout thing. So I don't know why they didn't implement that in
that
the PC
sucks.
version. And maybe there's a patch that I didn't get. I don't think so because it's automatic.
There's programs to do that, but it's annoying that you have to use
Yeah,
something.
and the Xbox even has like on screen things. Like when you press the modifier, it shows you what the other things would be. It
Yeah.
just the Xbox version's so fucking smart, and I don't know why. And I'm guessing because the PC's for elitists, the guy that wants to use that flight stick and all of that shit.
Hmm.
All right, so the next thing, the Legend of what's it called? The
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Yes.
Yes.
All right, you want to go first? You want me to explain something first?
I want you to tell me.
Right.
I'm gonna go into why I'm excited for it, but I know that you're not exactly excited for it. So I want you to tell me what your problem, or rather, why you're not excited for it.
All right. Yeah, that's a fair question. Um, so I guess my issue with it is mostly that like it's doing all these things that other games have already done, right? But because it's Zelda, it's fucking groundbreaking or something. And it looks fine, it looks cool, I never said like, "Oh, this looks like shit." But it looks like, it looks like a cartoony action adventure game that you can halfway craft stuff, and there's a weird loot system that doesn't even look that great, and you can take enemies weapons, which they've been doing that since the fucking 90s. Like, I don't know, nothing nothing they showed was like, oh my god, that's next level shit. It was like, okay, now Link can do this stuff, so since Link can do it, it's better than it was. I don't know. I was actually going to write an article, maybe I still will, showing all the cool things about Zelda and other games that seem to do it better already that are way older. It's just a time consuming article, so I had gotten to it. But Yeah, I don't know. It seems fine. It you know, and that's why I'm not excited about it because there's enough excitement for everybody else. Like I can just be normal and not care because you know, I saw games that like even like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I think is a horrible name by the way. They need to figure out who picks the names and just slap them. Like come up with good names, people. So Horizon Zero Dawn, I thought that looked very average as well. I was like, all right, whatever, okay, so it's robots. It looked like
At
Far
least
Cry
from
Primal, it's robots. But I feel like that game is trying to do things at least new. It's trying. I don't know if it does. It gets away with it. There's some tethering shit with enemies and stuff that I was like, all right, that looks cool. That's decent. Or God of War. I thought that looked amazing. I thought that was like, all right, this is cool. This is my next Uncharted game. God of War, believe it or not. And then Zelda was like, all right, well, you know, it's Zelda, but there's no hearts. He has to eat apples. God, that's so great. I guess talk to me. What's
okay.
so
So
amazing?
what I think, from what I saw, and I watched a lot of that footage. I didn't watch like an hour of it. I watched a lot of it. um, so I think it's going to be sort of what Fable was supposed to be, and not like entirely what Fable was supposed to be when it came out. The Zelda meets Skyrim kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's going to have that open world. You can go anywhere. It's going back to let anybody go anywhere in any way they want to. Um, it does seem like they're placing some other kind of limits, like just like height and traversal limits, but not in the same way as like you got to get the hook shot to get over here
Right.
or to do this and that. Um, the health doesn't drop anymore, that kind of stuff.
I mean, they do. They're just not hearts. They're just things you eat now. Which,
Yeah. Well,
like,
no, that's what I mean. It's like you don't. They're kind of doing away with stuff. So the one thing I like about the game is that it kind of reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus and how it's a little stark. But they said that the game that they didn't they didn't show any of the towns yet. They'll be showing that in the future, and how that stuff works in the game. So, and I think that was a mistake. I think they should have showed at least one town. And um,
do you remember my
the one
theory on
thing,
that?
no,
That there will be only my theory is that there will be only one town.
no,
Maybe
they said there would be towns,
and
and
and and and,
in
and, and
specific
I'm thinking
interviews.
one town, and then there's a dark world version of that same town is what I'm thinking.
No, I not from the way they discussed it and the multiple uh, interviews that I saw about it. Um, they said there was going to be like 100 of these shrines that you go to. There's like going to be 100 of them.
Hmm.
There's a rumor that there's only going to be 4 main dungeons, but that's a rumor. Nobody confirmed or
See,
denied
that would
that.
piss. That's not cool.
See, I don't know what that means if that's true, and I hope it's not true because I'm hoping there's at least 6. I don't
Well,
want to be there
these
just
little tiny
before.
shrines are like small tastes of a dungeon, but you can
Yeah,
complete them in a
but
few
they
minutes.
true, but they also said that the shrines vary in size, so there could be ones that take much longer than a smaller one, so they could be pretty much their own dungeon. So, but again, I mean, this is all I've heard. Um, Another thing that I like that is that they're going with a more, it's like they're kind of leaning toward a technology type story rather than a fantasy story. I mean, it's
With
still a
his
fantasy story,
with his
but it's like a fantasy
his
versus
fake
technology.
iPad, his.
Yeah, his little Nintendo pad.
Yeah. There's rumors
Um,
that thing is what the NX looks like, right?
yeah, I do like. I hope not. But I do have the. I do like the survival aspect, the little bit of survival that they put into the game. I like the stuff that they're doing with the temperature and how the climate affects the world and how you can solve puzzles in the world, like how the weather or the wind or the fire, how you use fire in the world or cold to defeat enemies or to traverse something, looks really cool. And I like that they're trying to get all those systems to talk to each other so that you can actually kind of like think of creative ways to do something instead of an like those that typical conditioning of game logic where it says, well, you can't do this because it's a game, and this is how we've been conditioned to understand how games work because it's not possible to do that. It seems like they're trying to break some of that in the game. I think the game looks amazing. I think it would look better on a PS4. I still stand by that. I think it would be better if they could make the game for other consoles. Um, it's too bad that you have to own a Wii U or an NX to play it, because I think it would be very successful if they weren't sticking to consoles.
I think it would be more successful. I think they sell a bazillion of those things on a PS4 as opposed
Mhm.
to what, 9 million tops on a Wii U.
Yeah, I
Assuming
think you're
every single Wii U owner buys it, which isn't the case. There's a cap when you sell it to Nintendo people, but remember, they make money on every console. So
right. Yeah. I don't know. I think, my thoughts, without deviating too much, is that the NX is going to be their last console. Like, if it doesn't succeed, I can't imagine them making another console. Like, if they do, then I don't know. They just don't know
I
what to
hope.
do.
Well, they never seem to have a good grasp on their market, you know, and it's why it's the real reason the Wii was a fucking damn shame was not because it was stupid and because motion controls are
It
stupid.
was it was an accident, a happy accident. The
Right.
success of it.
That the Wii's success was their the worst thing that could have fucking happened. This thing just trained everyone over there that we have to do dumb shit to sell consoles, and they're just like, they probably have a room called the dumb room where they're like, what dumb shit can we do to make it on the next console so that
The
piss
dumb rope.
piss Mike off. That's what they do, is they huddle up in teams to piss me off, right?
It takes a lot of people.
Uh,
It's got to be really creative. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you should feel flattered that they'd have a team just dedicated just for you.
Well, it's the same team that
Um,
came up with their online friend code system.
that, yeah. I mean, anyway.
That was a good one.
So
Pleading a fifth on that one. You're like, fuck that. I'm not even going there.
I'm not trying to defend it because there's
I
something
know.
to
I
defend.
know. I don't.
The
I do
system
not consider
sucks.
you a Nintendo defender at all.
Yeah.
There are those
Um.
out there, but you're not one of
Yeah.
them. Not to me, at
So,
least.
and also, one of the things that they've said is that all that they showed was only about 2% of the game. So, um, I'm hoping they said that they're going to be showing more before release, so that this isn't going to be it, and then that's what we get for release. They do need to show more. I feel like, because the thing is, for me, I'm excited. I like what I've seen, but the problem I have is I know there's got to be something else. I mean, the world looks great, but there's got to be something a little more tangible in the world. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like it's going to be one of the better open world action RPGs, which is what Zelda's been. An action RPG. But like, how are they going to fill the world with things to do other than just like going to camps and killing monsters?
Well, that's
And
that's the thing. Like Nintendo does this thing, and we were making. Jeff is really good at making fun of Reggie Phil's anime for it.
mhm,
Like, where they say something in a manner that they're telling you it's true, and people eat it up. Reggie lists all the great games for the Wii U. The Wii U's library is strongest in it's ever been. Like with, and he'll name off 30 games no one cares about. You know,
mhm.
with conviction though. And when I was watching the stream, they're like, "Oh, and the world is teeming with life and things to do." And he was like running from camp to camp, killing dudes, doing that. Like there was nothing in that whole world. There was nothing. The shrines looked cool. He was climbing on a big empty building. Like there was literally nothing going on, and he was talking about how full the world is with stuff, and I was just thinking, like, this seems the total opposite of full. This seems like,
I don't think it seemed that stark. I don't think it was the total opposite, but it did seem like like I said, they should have showed at least one town and some interaction with some NPCs, some quests. You know what I mean?
I
And
don't think there's
they
gonna be
did
quests, dude.
well, they did say that there will be quests
Yeah,
in
but
the game.
what their idea of quests, I think, is different. Their idea of quests is like, go get the Master Sword. That's always your fucking
No,
quest.
No, I mean there's quests in other Zelda games too that you do, side quests. And they'll have side quests in this one too. Um, but they should have showed them. That's the point. Because the whole point is what for you saying there's no quests in the game. Just get get those thoughts out of people's heads. Just show them
Well,
substance.
I don't think
And
like so like the 9 million people that bought their Wii U are buying this game, so like they know they don't have to show shit. They're gonna sell that to those people. Like they're, you know, like I'm the minority here. I'm the idiot that bought a Wii U, and now I'm sitting here like I should never bought this stupid fucking thing. Like I'm not the guy. I Nintendo people buy anything that says Zelda on it. That thing could have been a Star Fox game, Star Fox Zelda, and it, fuck, they took the most boring game in the world, which is Dynasty Warriors, turned into a Zelda game, and it sold to those 9 million people. But still, that's what I'm saying. They could put Zelda on anything and it'll sell.
yeah, that's kind of true.
No,
I
it's
do
true.
own that
Right?
dynasty. I do own that game.
That's what I'm saying. And can you sit here and honestly tell me that that's a great game?
It's not a great game, no.
No, of course, no Dynasty Warriors game is. But people that want that thing, they're
But
gonna.
to my defense, that is the only Dynasty Warriors type game I own.
And I'm proud of you for that because those games are fucking awful. And they did some spins on that game to make it a little different than the typical Dynasty Warrior games. And I saw footage. I'm like, all right, if I was gonna buy a Dynasty Warriors game, it would probably be that one. But it's a Dynasty Warriors game. Those games are fucking horrible. Which that game has a really strong. You ever get into an argument with a Dynasty Warriors player? Like
I don't
there's
think I
people
know any of them.
they're not a lot. Well, there's a lot, but not in normal civilization. You go to dirty, dark holes of the internet, the same place you find the frickin' Earth pedos, and you'll find a Dynasty Warrior players. It's like one forum. It's called
The
pedos.
dark.
It's called pedos and Dynasty Warrior players, and it's a forum where Earth and his friends hang out. Trading
You're gonna get Irv arrested for pedophilia. Like some guys will listen. You know what? I think he's a suspect. And he's gonna go to jail. And the dude is probably just like into some like really raunchy kink porn that nobody wants to watch, but nothing to do with kids. Nothing to do with kids.
some dirty shit. Every man should have his own stash, but because of me, Earth's out. I'm sorry, Earth. If you go to jail, my bad, dude.
So no, your points are valid. I mean, they are not doing anything new, and they do act like that. But the reason I like it is because they're changing. They're actually borrowing ideas that are good, and they haven't been doing that.
See, and
it's
if they would have
finally
pitched
nice
that
to
like,
see
hey,
that.
look, we're changing this up because we know this is what games are, it's one thing. But their messaging is like this whole like, we're giving you the shit right now. And I feel like they're just filling me with shit every time they talk.
Yeah, but the other thing is, I also feel like you're like on this. So we have the Nintendo fanboys, and you're like the anti-fanboy. You're on the total opposite side of the spectrum.
Well,
And
I do feel like I've been
I feel
fucked
like
over by that company a lot.
I know,
feel
and
like
I'm not.
I feel like I've been
saying-
sold a fucking rusty ass fucking. I feel like I've been sold fool's gold too many
Yeah.
times by them.
Yeah. So, and I was telling my buddy Glenn about it yesterday. That the problem with the Wii U was that this is the thing. I was saying they shouldn't be releasing the NX. What they should have been doing, and this is just my inexperienced business mind saying what they should do.
Right.
But I thought what the smart thing Nintendo should have did is that they really wanted the Wii U to be successful, which it doesn't seem like they do. I'm serious.
We hate the Wii
serious.
U.
They should have been driving the price down as much as they can to get in as many hands.
You believe that thing's still $300 fucking dollars?
And that's what I was telling him. I was like, "Who's gonna buy a $300 Wii U when you can buy a fucking PlayStation 4 for $350?"
You can buy an
when
Xbox
it
One
was
for
at-
$280 now.
Yeah. So that's the problem. It's like they don't think like, dude, this isn't worth that much money. It's like, sure, you got these games, but no one's gonna buy this for just Nintendo games.
You know what the problem is?
Yes, you got those people that do, but like,
It's profitable. Like they got shareholders. They're like, hey, look, we sell this thing for $300.
I don't know how. I mean, I understand that there's fanboys out there that buy it. I just don't see how they're floating.
Well,
with
they
it.
sold 9
Like
million of them.
If Microsoft is desperate and they're like, how much is the Xbox One sold? I know it's got to be way more than the Wii
The
U has
Xbox
sold.
One, I think, is at 25 million,
Okay, so
which is a
and
good
they're
15,
fucking like throwing punches left and right, trying
and that's
to
15
get
to
people to
20.
jump on.
That's 15 20 less than the PS4, and I think the Wii U is actually at 12 now.
Yeah, and
Uh,
and to be fair, 12 million units installed out there is not a small number.
no, it's a lot.
It's a good amount of consoles. However, that's like their lowest amount for any console they ever sold. I think the GameCube was still like higher than
No, the
that.
GameCube crushed that. And
Um,
but the thing is, it's profitable from day one. And while I make fun of that statement because they love to say that, it's like, Microsoft's selling at cost or at a loss. Same with Sony. Like their 9 million or 12 million probably made as much as Microsoft's 25.
yeah, God bless them. God bless them for taking a hit to sell those things, because I wouldn't pay full price for them. I mean, Sony showed that last gen, like selling a PS3 for what, $600?
Oh my
What was
god,
it?
those things! Yeah, to launch at 600.
Yeah, it's like I mean, even the fucking Xbox was a lot of money, and that
Yep.
was cheaper.
Yep.
$500 was like, I think everybody knew last
No,
gen.
the
Like
Xbox launched at
$500 was way
4.
too much. No, it launched at 5, dude. Because I remember standing in line to buy it.
I didn't pay 5. I think I paid it I must have gotten it when it got down to 4.
You got it like a year after I got mine.
Yeah.
Because remember, I moved like back down,
Right.
and but it was like $500 fucking dollars, and it was not cheap. And not only that, standing in line all night
Dude,
to
I
get
swore it was $400.
No,
Am I going crazy?
no, I'm pretty sure it was 500 when it
All
originally
right,
came out.
let's Google verify this.
360 original price. Oh, you're right. It is $399.
I thought so. No, because I think, yeah, it was 399.
Oh, they had $299 and $399 models. Why? God, it must have been tax that I was thinking about or something.
Well, the
Right,
299 one
close to
had no hard drive or nothing. It was awful.
And I didn't get that one. Oh, you know what though? But they had like, so
You
there
probably
was,
bought
like,
a bundle, like you were forced to buy a bundle.
yeah, or something like that. But
'Cause a lot of
yeah,
those-
it got Perfect Dark with it or something.
Yeah, a lot of those companies were screwing people by saying, oh, you have to buy the bundle that
But it
comes
was,
with
yeah.
all this shit. Now, remember, I bought that thing at a Best Buy in Jacksonville, I think, with you.
No, it wasn't in Jacksonville. Was it in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I think we went to a Best Buy up there, and I was like, fuck it, I'm buying this thing. And I bought it.
Oh, you know what? I remember because we were moving my stuff down.
Yeah,
you
that's what I'm
bought it,
saying.
And then you brought it home.
Yes.
And then like 3 months later, it died.
Yes, that was great. I was the first
Before
RROD.
the 3-year warranty.
I was the first RROD victim of all the friends I knew. It was great.
I don't know how they dug themselves out of that. I think everybody I knew, at least red ringed once, and I'm pretty sure most of them red ringed more than one time with more than one console.
Yeah, I went through probably 4 or 5.
I went through like 3 of them.
Yeah, I went through a lot of them, and then
Yeah.
yeah, that was a shitty console. It was a great
It wasn't
console,
made
but
well.
but
The
see
quality-
that goes to show what a good price and what good software does for a game, for a console.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, and I was trying to explain to my friend, and we always have this discussion, right? With every new console generation or whatever's happening. So technically, it's not true per se, but technically next year is another console generation, because you got the NX coming out, and then you got the upgraded.
Right, you got the
Versions of
upgraded, the Scorpio and the Neo.
Right. So technically, we're not getting new console generations in the conventional way anymore, and it makes
Right.
sense. It makes sense. I was trying to explain to my friend, and I always explain things to him. It sounds like, but
Well, I don't know that you're talking about the same one over and over again, but sure.
but basically, I was saying we're not going to get the console, the jarring console upgrade that we used to get, where it would be a brand new hardware. We're not going to see that. If we ever see that again, we're not going to see it anytime soon.
Right.
They're trying to. I think they want to do this model because they don't have to leave anybody behind. Also, they also don't need to leave any software behind, which I think is the biggest reason they're doing it. Think about how much more powerful the Xbox One is now just for having BC compatibility with 360 games. Because there's a lot of relevant games that are still good on the 360.
Dude, you tell me?
Um,
I just bought fucking Beyond Good and Evil HD last night, and I'm gonna play it as soon as this podcast is over.
cool. And I think that Sony and Microsoft both recognize, other than the reason for the other reasons for the upgrade, recognize that hey, if we just uh, allow developers to upgrade their current software library if they want to, and continue to make games and have them be scalable in fidelity, then they don't have to like change up their development cycle too much.
Right.
They don't have to learn new hardware. They don't have to learn any things. They could just basically plan like they were making a PC game, except there's still more of a static format. There's some legitimate concerns he had because he's like, well, I don't want it to be like the cell phone model. I'm like, I don't think it'll be like the cell phone model exactly, but like in frequency anyway.
Right.
But I was saying it's kind of a good thing because as long as they stick to a lowest common denominator and kind of make a standard to that, it'll be a benefit. Eventually, what'll happen is over time is they'll shave off the lowest common denominator as people go away. It's like, okay, how
Like
many
the
people
iPhone
are
model.
using so like how many people are actually using a base PlayStation 4? Oh, only 1 million users. Well, here we go.
Like the iPhone.
You know?
Like, hey, this new iOS 10 does not support, third generation iPhones and older. They just cut them off at some point.
Yeah. So I don't know if that will work and what the sweet spot is if it is, but that's how I project it. And this is the thing, and this is coming back to the NX, is I don't think the NX is going to be successful because one, it's nowhere near following this model. It's not even supposed to be as powerful as a PS4, or it is supposed to be as powerful as a PS4. However,
Yeah, they
even
say
if
it is as powerful as a PS4, which already puts it behind the new ones.
Right, right. Which, honestly, that wouldn't be bad because if they're still making games for the lowest common denominator, Sony and Microsoft, they're still kind of in the game. However, this is the problem. Why is anybody going to buy a PS4, a Nintendo console as powerful as a PS4 rather than buying a PS4, which is probably going to be cheaper? One, and two, already has all third-party backing.
Well,
Already,
I
all
have the
third-party
answer for
backing.
you. I have the answer to that question. 12 million people will buy it because they buy anything that says Nintendo on it.
Okay, but what about the other people?
Oh, those people aren't going to buy it. I think you're right. I think it fails. I think the same people that bought a Wii U buy that thing minus one, so it'll probably be 11,999,999. Because I'm not buying a fucking NX. Fuck that.
I predict that it will not sell even as well as the Wii U did.
I hope you're right, because I want them to get out of hardware.
I think there's going to be the hardcore fanboys, but I think honestly, I've talked to there's a lot of people I know up here that are hardcore Nintendo.
Well, yeah,
fans.
that's Nintendo
And-
land up there. Like
yeah,
I would imagine
right.
that there's
Well,
more Nintendo people
but-
there than most.
Yeah, but lots of them are burned. Like one of them is like a huge Zelda fan, but he's he's pissed. He's like really mad that they're just like, I can't believe they're not even going to just like make a Zelda game for the Wii U and like not just for the Wii U. He's like, he feels like, why? Like he's like, this will be the first Nintendo platform to have not to have a Zelda game of its own. Like it'll be on both of them. And I was like,
Why do you think I'm a pessimistic fuck? Because dude, that company doesn't give a fuck. They're like Disney. They just think that their products are so goddamn good that people will just do it. And until people tell them with their wallet that they won't, they'll just keep doing stupid shit. So I hope no one buys the fucking NX. Fuck them.
I will not buy it because Zelda's on Wii U, and apparently it's going to be exactly the same. And hopefully, they're not listening to the podcast.
And I think that's
everybody listens
bullshit,
to it.
by the way. I think
What
they're.
else
I think they're.
am I going to buy it for?
No. I think that statement is bullshit. By the way, I think they know. They know what kind of. They know that they're gonna piss people off, so they have fluff to sell. I think them sitting there saying, "Oh, there will be no differences," it's horse shit. You're telling me a more powerful system's not gonna have a better frame rate than the shittier system? What are you gonna limit the powerful one? It's fucking horse shit. They're full of shit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're doing it just so they don't burn people. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
I'm guessing the phrasing is because so they don't burn people. When it comes out, I'm gonna have a hard time believing that this new one with all this new technology and a newer video card and more RAM and a better processor is gonna run this game the same way the fucking Wii U does, because the Wii U fucking sucks.
I was playing my Wii U all this weekend.
Were you?
Yeah.
What were you playing?
I finished Twilight Princess HD. Um, I'm going through Mario again because I lost all my saves. So basically, I actually like Super Mario 3D World. It's
No, I
one of my
liked. I
favorite
actually I liked that game a lot. That game was very
games.
good.
It's one of my favorite
I
games.
think the last level was stupid. Like I feel like they dropped the ball at the end. Like they should have done something more creative. But whatever. That's whatever.
Um, and I'm also at the last area of the Yoshi's Woolly World. I'm almost done with that. That game is actually better than you might think it is because it's made of yarn. But and that's about it. That's all.
I have an idea. Maybe they should make a Yoshi game that just looks like a good looking game.
Make a
Yarn.
Yoshi
It's
game.
it's yarn, or it's fucking crayons, or it's fuck Nintendo. God damn it. Stop doing stupid shit. Make a good game. I'm not
Well, I
saying it's a
mean,
bad game. It's probably a very good game. Like I do
well,
want that new Kirby robot
see,
game.
this is the thing. It's like all those games to me are they're good games. I like them, but they don't need their own console.
Right.
They don't.
None of them
And
do.
that's been Nintendo's problem. It's like, either make a console and then bring developers to it. You know what I mean? So that make a good console, bring developers to it. Like actually put your foot in the
Yeah,
game.
but see
instead of
that only helps us. Like like that's the
that
thing.
doesn't help them.
No, that's the thing, and that's why I'm so anti Nintendo lately, because like I said, their 12 million consoles made probably as much money as Xbox's 25, and they know they have that. They know that they'll sell those. They know that they don't need third party because people will still buy their console for their stupid games, and they know that their stupid games have a strong attach rates because there's no other games on their fucking console. So people are gonna buy all the dumb shit they shovel out. Like they have a monopoly on stupidity. No, they have a monopoly on these characters, and it's fine because you're supposed to leverage your properties. But I had this conversation with you guys. I want to say like episode 4 of the podcast. Like the demographic is getting older. Like little kids don't play Mario. Little kids don't play Yoshi. Little kids like we're the Nintendo crowd, the old fucking 30 pluses. Like at some point we're gonna stop, and then they have a major problem.
Or die.
Or die, which for me maybe it's next year, hopefully not, but oh, Nintendo. I hope they do listen to podcasts and Reggie Phil's Anime gets with me and like, hey, let's have a talk. You need to learn how to pronounce my name.
He talks to you, but not me, even though I live in the same state.
Jeff. Yeah, well, if he calls and says let's talk, I'll say I'm sending my field reporter, and then you're gonna go. The problem is he's not gonna have to convince you like their shit.
I think you like their shit too. I just don't think you like. I think you're at this point that they can't say anything right. There's nothing.
It's
that
like
they can
it's
do
like
right.
this. It's like this. Mario 3D World was great. I loved that game. Fucking Super Mario Maker, great. I love that game. I'm trying to think of other Wii U games that I really loved. I think that was it. Okay, that was it.
It is a short.
Oh, it's a super short list. I don't play Smash. I used to get in arguments at work all the time. Like, how could you not fucking like Smash? Like, very simple. I don't. That's
See,
it.
I feel like that's what pisses you off is when someone's like, "What do you mean you don't like it?" That makes you more upset.
Well, yeah, of course, because some idiot is like questioning my taste. Like, oh, how come you don't like Skyrim? Because you don't. Okay, fine. You don't like Skyrim. Great. I don't like Smash. No, but Smash is fucking great. Like, it's a whole series of fan service for people like you. Great that you like it, but I don't fucking like it. Like they've built entire franchises on fan service, like Mario Kart, like Mario Party, like fucking Smash, and only Nintendo could get away with that dumb shit. But Sony even tried with their Sony All Star garbage, and that fucking failed miserably.
It did. It did fail. I got it for free and I still didn't like it.
Nobody liked it. That's why they gave it for free. But they have a monopoly on those characters, and they leverage it in a way that forces people like people who grew up, because you and I, specifically you and I, because you and I grew up together, grew up Nintendo people. We love that fucking NES. I fucking adored the SNES. I thought the N64 was stupid, but I had it anyway. Like, we were Nintendo people, and then to see them take this thing, because the Super Nintendo is arguably the greatest console ever made to me. Has some of the best games ever made. It did everything you wanted to. It was a superior product at the time.
I
It was everything.
Yeah, I feel like it's the best 2D console ever made. I
Sure.
feel like the Xbox 360, currently standing, was the best 3D console ever made. It like had the Super Nintendo qualities
Yes, I
on that
agree.
console.
Besides the RROD issues, yes, that was a fucking amazing console. So,
Yes.
it's like they took this thing that I thought was like great, and they turned it into this weird monopoly of a fucking like buy our stupid shit for whatever stupid gimmick we made, because you have no choice if you want to play this shit you grew up with, and at some point, which that point for me was probably like a year ago, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to play the stupid shit I grew up with anymore. Fuck off. You can have it. And then they show the Zelda like, oh, we're adding all this shit to it. It's the fucking future. And I'm like, it's all shit that's been done already. Sure, you can, whatever. Nintendo. I mean, I still have my Wii U, so I haven't sold it yet. So, maybe that thing comes out. Maybe they show some more footage, and I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll try it, and I'll buy it when it comes out. I'm guessing that I won't, but you never know. I've been weird about games.
You will buy it. You'll buy it.
I never planned on buying Overwatch until the day Overwatch came out. Then I was like, you know what? FOMO, motherfucker, Overwatch. And I loved it. Still love it. So there's that. You're right. I'm a sucker for buying new things. So there's I would probably say a higher than 75% chance that the day that the new Zelda comes out, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to do this
Yeah.
shit.
And for the record, I'll probably end up buying an NX because I'm an idiot.
That I'm holding strong to. I'm not buying an NX. Fuck that. All right, so how about this? I'm not going to do it the way I did the Wii U. With the Wii U, it was like, I just want it because I want all the consoles and all this stuff. I knew at the time that there was no, there wasn't a lot of software for it. I was buying a Nintendo platform for, 3 games. It was after they announced Zelda, and at the time when they showed Zelda, it looked amazing. The videos they showed at E3 took me away from that. I think what I had in my head was much better than what they showed, and maybe that's part of the problem too. I built conclusions on my own. So with the NX, I'm gonna stand by my fucking vow that I'm not buying it unless they really show that it's gonna be a great console, not just another Nintendo machine. I'm not buying another Nintendo machine. I'm buying consoles. Boom. Or if it's $100, maybe I'll just buy it because. But
You know what?
it'll be profitable from day one.
This it'll be 8 million units sold. It probably will sell 8 million the first day.
It'll sell 12 million total. The same 12 million people that bought Wii U's. That same group of fucking people that like is sitting there eating and shitting Nintendo. This coming from a Wii U owner, so I seriously was sitting there thinking, I wonder how much I can get for my Wii U. But then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep it.
I don't think it's even worth selling it now.
Yeah, because like the $100 I get from it's not even worth the hassle of selling it. So I was like, fuck it.
I think this might be a good place to end the podcast.
We should probably end the podcast. Yeah, I got some stitching to do. I've got to work. I'm wondering if I should play one more VR game before going downstairs and playing some Beyond Good and Evil.
I'm gonna go, hopefully, watch Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah. Okay, new plan. I want to play some Beyond Good and Evil, then watch some Game of Thrones, and go to sleep. And I'm gonna put away. Oh, I gotta put away a bunch of tripods first. So, thanks for listening. Anyone that might be listening, this is episode 14 of the DGX podcast. I'll probably have this up tomorrow night, which would be Monday for the world. And yeah, It's been real. Bob, you have any closing statements? Check out droughtgamingx.com.
Check out droughtgamingx.com and hope for the next cast to have Jer for Earth because it's a lot funnier when they're here.
I don't know. I think we did pretty good, man. I
think we did pretty good, but it's lonely.
Earth
I want them to feel. I want them to feel guilty. Damn it.
No, they should feel guilty. And Earth has some explaining to do about his pedophilia ways. That nasty motherfucker. All right, dude. Thanks.
Be on Catch a Predator.